Anyway, so the plan method, position for safety. So creating an adequate space cushion is one of the biggest things that we have to really focus on. Okay, we need to have room in front of us, side to side, and if we can, to our back. We can't really control that too much because we got tailgaters, but we can control what's in front of us and possibly side to side. And the reason why we want to have an adequate space cushion is so that we can have time to brake, have time to swerve, have time to react. So we're perceiving things, we're reacting. What is it that we're reacting with? You guys have all heard perception, reaction, total stop, or braking distance equals total stopping distance. That's just for braking. What about perception, reaction, swerving? Perception, reaction, getting ready to cross over an obstacle, perception, reaction, engine braking, perception, reaction, whatever it is, that whatever the action is, the navigate, act, or threats portion. So that's why we need to have that space cushion. We need to have enough room so we can make decisions. Okay, so we might have to brake for a little bit to increase our decision time and then swerve afterwards. Who knows? We need to find those escape routes though. So that's one of the biggest things is finding escape routes or establishing escape routes. So we're riding around, we're positioned for safety. We have a really good, adequate space cushion. But then, hey, there's an area that we can swerve into. I'm going to make sure I'm going to establish that is going to be where I'm going to go if something happens. Hey, I got an escape route over here, escape route over here. I can accelerate through here. Either way, whatever it is, you need to establish these things before you need them because you don't want to be in an emergency situation looking for it and then boom, you crash. You don't want to deal with that. Maintain clear line of sight. Line of sight is very important. You want to be able to see far enough ahead, and that kind of plays into the space cushion. But it also, if you could see past the vehicle in front of you because you're in a good position, like in a lane filtering position while riding, you can actually react to the thing that the vehicle in front of you is going to react to. So you both are reacting at the same time versus you reacting off the vehicle in front of you. Very, very important. I love maintaining clear line of sight, especially on corners if you can. So locating hazardous situations, this is going to be definitely that orange stage. Okay, we're going to be perceiving a threat. We're ready to act. We're getting ready to do something. That's what we're doing here. So intersections, we're coming up to intersection. We know that there's going to be left turners, possible pedestrians, possible gravel in the road, possible idiots. Okay, so we got to be locating these hazardous situations, covering our brakes, establishing escape routes, maintaining clear line of sight, position for safety, part of the plan. All right, so the P part. Anyways, low corners, same thing. Failure to negotiate corners, a major thing. We're going to see some of that in today's live stream, well, today's video. And a lot of people are going too fast, basically. So we're going to do slow press and roll, trail braking if you have that skill, and getting ourselves ready for that turn. Lane filtering, and lane splitting also, but lane filtering, that's going to bring its own hazards. You don't have space cushions to left or right. You really can only decelerate, accelerate. You don't want to be going too fast because you don't have a lot of time to make it because your line of sight's also terrible. Heavy wind, it's going to push you to left or right. If you have wind to your face, it's going to feel awkward trying to pull you off the handlebars. Wind to your back, you're having a good time. But you got to be careful, understand how to navigate that. If you have wind coming at you from the right side, I guess on the left side of your screen, get your leg out like a sail. I have an old video. I might have to update that. You can create as a sail. It's going to pull you, but you might have to lean into that wind. Night driving. I want you to write in the comments, what do you think night driving? What kind of hazardous things can happen? What's creating that hazard factor? Vehicle blind spots. Pretty simple. People don't even check their mirrors, let alone their blind spots. So let's not stay in their blind spots. If we're in our blind spots, go ahead and decelerate, engine brake, and let them go. Because if they do merge, that's no good. So you want to stay staggered, just like if you're riding in a motorcycle group, staying staggered just in case somebody has to swerve. Assess relevant threats, road surface hazards. You got the sealant, worn down streets, dirt roads, ice, snowy or muddy patches on roads, uneven roads, wet roads. You have all these different things that can really cause a traction loss. That's the biggest thing. Think of the road itself it's like part of the equation of your tires and staying on the road. So if your tires are doing really well and they're really grippy, they're new, they don't have any damage, that's that one part of the equation you have control over. You don't have the other equation part to control over, which is the road. So you do your best to have good tires, but if the road isn't doing its best to maintain itself, that's going to be a possible traction loss. So when we're in the middle of a corner, bad road. In the intersection, having them do emergency braking or swerving, bad road. These are all things that we don't have control over, but what we do have control over is our speed. We have control over the tires that we have. So that's a big thing here. So what we can really do is have good tires. But you want to watch out for crack sealant. That's the tar snakes. It gets really mushy in the heat. Worn down streets, obviously, you're gonna have like uneven, just like gaps in it, gravel, the aggregate of the street and the asphalt's all coming up. Dirt roads, gravel roads, loose surfaces. Already, boom, you got a loss of traction. Ice, snowy, muddy patches, same thing, loss of traction. Ice and snow, I mean, it's pretty obvious, a little slick. Muddy patches on the road, you don't want to deal with that because it could be like really slick because of the silt and just the way it's formed and formulated. Uneven roads in the middle of a turn, all of a sudden it kind of drops off a little bit. That's no bueno, so you don't want to hit that. No good. Wet roads, especially first 30 minutes of a rain. The roads that has a lot of oil in it, especially from cars dropping stuff. So it's going to lift. It's going to lift up because of surfactant. It's going to start going off to the side of the road. So definitely the first 30 minutes, you might get a little bit of oil on the road. Be very careful with that. Ride at the almost in the middle of the road at that point. So because everything's just going to kind of come off to the sides if it's a well designed road. Roadway users. Okay, we're gonna go over these real quick. Pretty simple. We're gonna see a lot of this in the videos coming up. Path of travel violators, lane crossers. So people in the cars, animals, pedestrians. If they're in the crosswalks or even in jaywalking, kids playing. That's a big thing. And I use this example all the time right here. Is that if you see like a basketball or a bouncy ball or something rolling into the street, and you're in a neighborhood near a park or whatever, just assume a kid is going to run after it. They're not going to look both ways. Their parents are going to be on their phones. Even if the parents are paying attention, kids are just crazy. They're going to do what they want to do and they're going to run into the road. So if you see a bouncy ball going into the road, think of a kid might doing it. You don't want to hit a kid. You don't want to hit anything, but definitely don't want to hit a kid. So navigating active threats, these are the actions that you can take once you position yourself for safety, you establish your escape route, you are locating hazardous situations, so you're prepped and ready in intersections, corners, all those other areas. You're assessing active threats, so you see uneven gravel, or uneven ground, gravel, pedestrians, roadway users, crack ceiling, whatever it is. Now we got to actually navigate active threats. Okay, if you see that kid running out in the street, you're gonna have to do an emergency swerve. You're gonna have to do some progressive braking. You might have to just slow it down a little bit to let him go, and then once he runs off the edge of the street, you can go ahead and get going. These are all things that we can do. Okay, so we can actually accelerate too. So if we find an escape route, we're going to go ahead and accelerate into it because we might have to get in there before the vehicle gets in there first because we won't be able to stop in time. So that's one thing that we got to really watch out for. Maybe just changing lane position. Okay, that might be all you need to do. Crossing over small obstacles. You don't want to cross over big ones. You want to swerve around big ones. But crossing over small obstacles is definitely something that you can do. So this is an overview of the plan method. If you want to go ahead and get this right here, go to the MTC Rider Academy. You can download it once this video goes up, but it's actually up there right now. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this next one.